Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Under Department Business, we have Airport request approval for the U.S. government lease for real property between NOAA and the City of Starkville located at George M. Bryan Field. 2 is request approval to enter into a base network and support agreement and a cell plan with QT Pod for the next 5 years at a total cost of $7,180 at George M. Bryan Field. Under Community Development and Planning, we have discussion and consideration of FP 26-01, a request for final plat approval for the preserve at Huntington Park, Phase 1, Part 2, located in the western end of Huxley Drive in an SD 6 zoning district. 2 is discussion and consideration of FP 26-02, a request for final plat approval for Vogus Hawk subdivision at 504 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive West in a CR zoning district. 3 is request authorization to allow the Community Development Department to apply for America 250 Mississippi grant provided by the Mississippi Humanities Council. 4 is request for authorization to allow the Community Development Department to apply for a grant approved by the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area, MHHAA. Under Engineering, we have consideration of approving the sole source quote from Meridian Rapid Defense Group in the amount of $56,588.75 for an Archer drop deck trailer and mobile bollard accessories. Under Finance Administration, item 2 is acceptance of the December 2025 financial statements. Under Human Resources, number 1, we have a request authorization to hire Pooja Shanuk as Grants and Finance Manager in the City Clerk Finance and Administration Department. 2 is request authorization to promote Amanda Taylor to the position of Human Resources Business Partner within the Human Resources Department. 3 is request authorization to hire Darlene Brooks as Human Resources Payroll Coordinator in the Human Resources Department. 4 is request approval to hire Eric Wyatt and Hallie Powers as non-certified police officers in the Starkville Police Department. Number 5 is request authorization to hire Richard Ricky Atwood as an aircraft lineman, FBO, in the Starkville Airport Department. 6 is request authorization to hire Jaden Lowe as a landscape intern in the Starkville Utilities Department. 7, request for authorization to hire J.P. Buford as a temporary driver in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. 8 is consideration of the 2 disciplinary actions recommended by Starkville Police Chief Mark Ballard related to the pending and subsequent conclusion of IA 25-12001 for a Starkville Police Tactical Dispatcher. Under Parks, number 1, consideration of approving task order number 3 with Burns Cooley Dennis for a geotechnical investigation for the proposed skate park at the Starkville Sportsplex in the amount of $9,800. 2 is consideration of approving the low bid from SGK Landscape, Inc. for the Sportsplex Soccer Irrigation Improvements Project in the amount of $92,075.29. Under Police, first is request approval to renew the 5-year lease software agreement with Utility Associates, Inc. for body-worn cameras, accessories, and in-car video equipment in the amount of $790,000 over 5 years from April 1, 2026 to March 31, 2031. The amount due in current fiscal year is $150,000. Utility Associates, Inc. is a sole source provider and compatible with existing systems. Under Utilities Department, we have request authorization to accept the low quote from Bill Young in the amount of $25,440 for replacement of electric butterfly valves at Curry Street Plant. 2 is consideration of accepting the low bid for the Headworks, Clarifier, and RAS Improvements project from NCMC LLC and authorizing the mayor to execute a construction contract. 3 is request authorization to declare the Water Division push camera UEMSI encoder 75-3800-500 as surplus and authorization to accept the low quote from Green Equipment Company to purchase a replacement push camera in the amount of $8,901. And that does conclude our consent agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm always happy to do that. Thank you. Next we go to announcements and comments, and under Mayor's comments I want to commend the folks who planned the MLK Day services. Friday the university had a unity dinner which went very well, and then on Monday, yesterday, we had an MLK Day service at New Zion, and then we had the Unity Walk, which was a nice walk around the block everybody got to see the downtown there. But it was a very nice weekend, and I encourage all of you to attend next year because I think it's certainly worth doing. Appreciating the things that Dr. Martin Luther King brought to our community and to our country. I also want to say the weather this weekend is going to be pretty iffy, so I think all of our crews are going to be ready. Mr. Kemp's going to have a standby crew. I know that Mr. Burnett's going to have our street department ready. So, and Mr. Smiley, if the weather gets too bad on Friday, then we'll know what to do. Sanitation will just have to call it a day because we want everybody to be safe. It's supposed to be really, really difficult. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe it will pass us by, but if not, we'll be ready. So. Thank you, everyone. We can all go to Alderman Brooks' house because he has a generator. There you go. Now I've said it. And I do not, seriously, I do not know. And let me recognize Supervisor Carver, who used to have the seat down there where Alderman Moreland was. I don't know what the policy is on opening the center, the storm shelter on Lynn Lane, but I'm sure that the folks will put it out to the county if need be. Okay. And while I'm at it, I'll recognize former Alderman Dumas, who will be coming before us here in a few minutes under the auspices of the Transportation Department. But anyway, we always appreciate your attendance. So I say that that pretty much concludes mine. Alderman Moreland, anything?
No, ma'am.
All right. Alderman Sistro?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Alderman Skinner?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Brooks?
Just one thing.
Yes,
Everybody on the board remembers Mr. McCaskey's presentation about the OpenGov changeover. We went to OpenGov from MyGov, and Mr. Havlin's help along with that. But I just want to let everybody know I had a chance to use that this past week, just searching for a building permit actually, and it's a big improvement. And I commend you for what you've done. It's a major improvement, and what both you guys have done to get that up and running. And I think that it's something that the people that do business with us will enjoy using that versus the old system because it was quite cumbersome. I used to have to get a primer every time I used it again because I just would forget or something. But anyway, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, and I can echo that. I heard from several people that it is quite an improvement, so we do thank you. Alderman Pope.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Alderman Vaughn.
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. All right, next we have citizens' comments. Anyone who wishes to come speak to us, you have 3 minutes. Complaints, concerns, compliments. We're happy to listen to all and see what we can do to be responsive. Mr. Turner, always lovely to see you.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Alvin Tom Ward. 7, to the mayor, to the police chief, to the fire chiefs, to sanitation, and the NACP as well. We would like to thank the police department and the mayor for helping the NAC pull off yesterday the encouraging words instead of especially with the environment that we are living in now. We're hoping that our person do not continue and start a war that's unnecessary, but the mayor and the police chief, though, was encouraging words with the dark days ahead. Also, with the police department, I have a card here from the community council. I would like to give it to you because we have people that would not take their medication this time of year in bipolar, schizophrenia, and psychotic, those voices can be violent.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, I will close it under citizens' comments, and we will move to public hearings. Our first public hearing will be former Alderman Dumas and now transportation head of MSU. This is a smart bus transit system presentation and public hearing.
How are you doing?
Good evening. How are y'all?
Wonderful.
Vice Mayor. Best ward in the city, Ward 6 right there. Appreciate that. Good seeing all y'all. Welcome new faces. So annually we have to be here as part of our presentation, as part of our public funding to not necessarily with y'all, but we do it because we're good partners. We have to hold a public hearing for every time we apply for funds, and so we apply annually. And so we're gracious enough for y'all to have us so that we can do our presentation and then hear feedback from both y'all and the constituents in the audience, because we always appreciate feedback and hear from everybody that's here. So a lot of this will be old hat for y'all. Am I doing something wrong, Joanna? A lot of this will be old hat for y'all, like me working a PowerPoint.
Yep.
There it is. Is that it? Okay. It's just real slow. There it is. All right, so just real quick, we apply for a 5311 Rural Mass Transit Fund. So obviously we're a community of 25,000+ people. Even though we have students that are here that take that population well above that, we're still recognized by the U.S. Department of Transportation as rural. And so through that, we have to apply to 5311 funds that are handled through the Mississippi Department of Transportation. So everything we do is through the DOT. Our budget is separated so that all administrative costs, all capital costs are 80% FTA, 20% local match, and then the operational side is 50-50. We operate both fixed and flexed routes. So when you see our buses going along Lampkin Street or across the north end of campus, our town, those are fixed routes. They have set schedules, set routes, they have set stops. The same is true on a flex route. Our GTR airport route is a flexed route, which means it has a set route, but it can move along a certain area. So if someone were on that vehicle and said, I'm going to the La Quinta, or I'm going to the Hilton Garden Inn, we will drop them off at that said location. Paratransit is on demand. It's a complimentary service, so it is the only federally or state-funded paratransit program in our region. We're very proud of it. And then we participate in regional and statewide coordination, and I'll talk about that in just a second as part of what we're doing. So we're continuing to see, as all of you, any of you that were here back in COVID was tremendously detrimental to public transit systems across the country. We saw the same. Ridership was cut more than in half, and so we're very proud to see continual growth in what we're doing. Increase this year of 32,000 riders. As I've said every year the past 3 or 4 years, our biggest point of pride, though, is that our percentage of ridership along that 450,000 people continues to grow with city riders. And, you know, with all due respect to a young, well-bodied individual on campus that uses a shuttle to get to and from campus and doesn't have to just use their poor little legs while it's hot, that's somewhat important, but it's not near as important as when we drive down Lampkin Street and we see an individual get out of a bus with 5 or 6 bags of groceries, and they're using it as the only point in which they can get to a point of sale or retail or whatever it is. That's a true quality of life aspect. So we're very proud of the fact that we continue to see monthly growth in our city routes. Ridership chart I'll show you every year. At some point we're going to get too big for that and we're not going to have to show this route anymore. But obviously the one thing I continue to show is that we are student dependent. Obviously such a large population of our ridership is in the fall and in the spring, but we continue to see that growth in the summer when there. By far and away my personal point of pride with our system is our paratransit program. These are individuals who have absolutely no other opportunity for transportation in the city. 6,400 total paratransit trips this year. 1,261 of those were lift assist, which means that those are individuals that are in a mobility device that have very little, if any, other means of transportation. That's a 19% increase this year alone, or no, 113% increase alone. So huge growth in terms of the numbers of calls that we're now receiving from individuals that are in a mobility device that don't have another means of operation and another means of transportation. So we continue to grow. You might have seen this year we've put some bigger buses on those routes that have large ADA symbols on them. We can carry multiple people at a time. That's something that we have not yet done. We're still working through the dispatching qualities of that, but definitely a need in the community that we're glad to meet. We see it continue to grow, especially when you see growth in health, dialysis access, and all the various things that are so important to so many of our constituents. There's our paratransit ridership, and again, you see the big shift from 500 wheelchair lifts or mobility device lift assist last year to over 1,200 this year, so big growth there. All right, so total ridership increase. The biggest increase that we saw apart from paratransit was the Golden Triangle Airport. So an 85% increase this fiscal year versus last, and a lot of that comes with a new route that's coming in. I didn't introduce my staff. I should have. I've got Jack Elliott, who has taken Ronnie White's space. His hair is not nearly as good as Ronnie's flat top. Tom Perkins is the man in the room that makes all the wheels go around on the bus. Literally, he manages day-to-day operations. And so what Tom is able to do with the GTR route, and especially knowing that there could be potential growth in the future and other things, has really been impressive to manage all of those arrival departures, because we're there on every one of them. And it doesn't matter if the plane's 30 minutes late, an hour late, or whatever it is, we still manage to be that. Now, if you're 2 hours late, you might have to find a different ride, but we're probably on a different route by that time. This past fiscal year, we completed the first ever autonomous bus in Mississippi. And one of the bigger things we've done is that I talked about having to do a regional transportation group or participate in regional planning. This year, we were asked by MDOT to take over our regional transportation leadership. We're very happy with that. Tom is the regional director. Lacey Funderburk is the mobility manager. And so what they mean and what they do is anyone within a 16-county region calls those two, and it's their responsibility to help that individual find a ride wherever it is within the region or across the state that they want to go. So in theory, if someone from Tunica wants to get to Gulfport, they call a mobility manager, and those mobility managers network together and find that individual an access of route. So it doesn't matter if you're in the city of Starkville, Oktibbeha County, or where you are. So point of pride there for sure, and they've been able to do some fantastic things on that transit, the regional group. All right, so proposed this year, and I'm going to start with the last point. Back in November, we had a meeting with Scott Bergeron. He is the executive director of the Community Transportation Association of America, and he put forth a pretty doomy and gloomy forecast when you look at transportation funding for transit systems across the country. That was at the federal level. In December, we had our annual kickoff with MDOT, and right out of the gate, they basically told us you've got to cut your budgets 10%. Thankfully, we've been able to do that with no operational impacts. Now, our budget that's actually shown, if you go back to this presentation last year, our budget is actually higher, but it's higher because we've not been able to procure buses in the last 2 or 3 years. This year, we actually have a contract in place, and so we're procuring buses through another pot of money. But our operational and administrative budget, that 5311 that I talk about every year, we do see a 10% decrease in that operational budget this year. We don't really know what that means long term. Thankfully, we think that most in the state will be able to absorb that in just traditional operations and do some efficiencies without transportation service impacts. But it is kind of interesting out there when you start looking at the transportation of people and some of the discussions that are being said both at the state level and the federal level. So nothing really of concern there, but just wanted you to be aware because it's definitely something that we're working through. And we do appreciate y'all's $100,000 of cost share. Mrs. Strunk might have to think about that. Look at that last point there, but we'll talk about it. No changes in our routes this year. This time last year we did have one route, and I do want to talk about it. Tom noticed and he surveyed riders of the Starkville North route, which goes from neighborhood Walmart to the Super Walmart on the campus as well. It circumnavigated all of North Campus, Garrett Road, Reed Road, etc. And we found that people were pretty generally unhappy with the length of the route. And so through that, we then split that route into 2 routes. And so there's now a route called the Northeast that leaves campus, goes to the neighborhood Walmart, goes to Garrett Road, goes to Reed Road, the north part of Reed Road, and then to the hospital. The hospital now is a hub of 2 routes. The other route is the Northwest. It leaves the hospital, goes to West Side, Abernathy, Eudora Welty, the Super Walmart. Everybody wants to go to Walmart. And so we've generally had very good reception of this new route change that Tom has helped implement because the routes are much quicker now. And so those that live on Reed Road can go to Super Walmart much quicker, just like those on Garrett Road could go to neighborhood Walmart much quicker. It's been a good split. So other than that, which was the biggest change last year, we have no fundamental changes in our routes this year. The mayor, I know, has asked about things. Kim, I know you asked about some shelters and other things on different parts, and I do want to give kudos to Cody and the engineering team because proactively with what's happened on Main Street, they were very quick to come to us and talk about changes and how we move those stops that are on Main Street. We've been able to move them to Lampkin without much of an impact. They've already generated comments with us about looking at some of your projects on North Montgomery. because we have a stop at Santa Anita right now. We have one at Boardtown Village right now that is not ADA accessible, so they're already looking at those improvements. And then I know Whitfield and the Louisville Street project, or the Louisville Street stop that's right there at the Railroad and Wood Street is a big project that will take some time, but those are obviously areas, because I frequently see people standing right there by Wood Street to get on and go elsewhere along the route. So we appreciate y'all proactively thinking of that and thinking about it. So goals this year, modernizing our fleet. So I mentioned the new monies that we have, or we're seeking new monies for our buses. So we have 4 buses, Tom, on order that are coming in February? 4 buses that are coming in February. Again, these buses are 18-month lead time, so they're long-time lead times, and then we're looking for bigger buses for campus that we're working contractually through now. They're actually 24-month lead times. So we're budgeting now for that. Optimizing routes, working with the city, as I just mentioned, looking at those in North Montgomery areas, Whitfield Street, Louisville Street, et cetera, and then continuing to adapt with growth at GTR, because one of the buses that we have is actually a newer bus, because there were several times this year we had to send bigger buses to GTR just to bring all the people back in when you factored in no luggage. But it's been a good year. We do appreciate all y'all's support, as always, and so I'll be glad to open questions, but if you would, I would like to have questions from the audience as well as part of the public hearing.
Absolutely. I do have a question. Knowing that the baby boomers, myself included, are getting older and older, are you projecting continued use of the paratransit in a spurt of growth, or just a steady growth up?
We've not, but you're so well-bodied, you're going to be okay for a while, so you're going to be fine.
See? That was great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
But no, we've not projected that growth, but we do understand where we are, and we continue to see the needs. I'd laugh too, but you sit next to her. I think we'll continue to see growth in time with paratransit, because it's not just a baby boomer issue, it's just a fundamental public health issue.
Yeah.
Especially when you see access to dialysis. 2 or 3 years ago, we actually put the dialysis clinic on Abernathy on a fixed route system so that people could use fixed routes. Now, they don't generally, because of the healthcare concerns, and they're not in the best place to get on a bus with other people at that time, but I see paratransit as something that will continue to grow.
That's just a huge jump in a year.
It is, absolutely is. Very surprising to me.
Yeah. Any questions? Yes, sir.
You're talking about you have to send a bigger bus to the airport. Do the airport passengers have to call in ahead of time to reserve a spot?
They do not.
Okay.
So we're there every arrival departure. So we have a documented time we leave the mill. So the mill is our local area. Now you can call and schedule a pickup to go to a departure. And we get you there because of the new FTA rules, or the FAA rules, where you have to check a bag 45 minutes early. We used to get you there about an hour 15 out. Now we're getting you there about an hour 45 out to process through. But then that bus stays, and what we do is we clear, the drivers will sweep the terminal, make sure everybody's gone, and then we leave. So we wait until everybody's there to come back.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor, let me
Vice
ask
Mayor.
you, gentlemen, good afternoon, my constituent.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. What number should a person call if they want to get a pickup from the airport?
325-5204.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm surprised I know that number, to be honest with you.
Well, it's sitting on the screen.
Oh, yes, I wasn't looking now. Yes.
Let me, since the mayor brought that, and as an attorney, I don't want to assume that was the number.
Right.
But I want to make sure it was correct. Thank you.
People don't write
Yes,
down the
sir.
right information all the time.
Absolutely. All
Okay.
right.
Jim?
Well, I'm sorry. That's okay. Oh, Mrs. Strong?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, well, you would like to open it as a public hearing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Get out of the way. I'll sit up here.
Good evening, my name is Alvin. We are blessed and been blessed that we that can't drive have a way of getting around. And I'm glad that I was part of making this happen from the jump. And we have had ups and downs, but we still holding on. And I would also like to give to Mr. Dumas, a community council card that got contact, because we now will, the many patients will not take their medication. They might get on the bus laughing for about 5 minutes, then all of a sudden the voices in them laughing, they make people nervous. But that is community counseling, and that can kind of help. Well, with me on there, being through community counseling, they kind of be kind of a discipline, but that is the number that if any of the female drivers or anything need help, or someone getting on talking to themselves or laughing out loud or trying to be violent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak about the public transit system, about the SMART system? Anyone else? What else do you need, Mr. Dumas?
Nothing.
That's it?
Joanne has helped me out, so we're good to go. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll close it as a public hearing. Anything further from Mr. Dumas or for Mr. Dumas from the board? All
Got
right.
sign-in sheets. If you have not, there were some sign-in sheets. If you not, please sign the sign-in sheets, but I think that's the best one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's always lovely to see you, and thank you for what you do. Sincerely, it really is a service to the community, so thank you so much, truly. All right, for this next item, Alderman Moreland, if you would, and City Clerk, show that Alderman Moreland has recused herself from this board item. All right, we have a public hearing consideration of a rezoning 25-02, a request to rezone 101 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive West from T5 to C. Mr. Howland, the floor is yours. Having technological difficulties?
It appears first.
There we go.
This is a request by Under the Bleachers LLC to rezone 101 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive West from T5C to C Commercial. Now it works. The applicant is proposing to reopen a convenience store gas station at the site. That use is not permitted under T5C zoning district. The use is also not permitted under the previous T5 zoning. The building has not been used as a convenience store gas station for more than 3 months, and therefore the use is not permitted to be reestablished. As you can see in this image, this is from March of 2023, and the pumps were actually removed at that point. Once the applicant was informed of this, they applied to rezone the property to C Commercial. The UDC allows for an amendment to the official zoning district map based on the following conditions: that there's an error in the code and a need to correct the error or change in condition. A change in the neighborhood has occurred to such an extent as to justify the proposed rezoning, and there's a public need for the proposed rezoning. The C zoning district was established for large-scale commercial uses ranging from big box to small retail commercial buildings located along a major highway corridor. The majority of C-zone property is located along Highway 12 and Highway 25. The closest C-zone property to this property is approximately 0.68 miles directly to the south. The properties surrounding it are either T5C or T5D. The rezoning the subject property as requested would meet the definition of what is called spot zoning. Spot zoning is defined as rezoning a lot or parcel of land to benefit an owner of a use incompatible with the surrounding land use and does not further the comprehensive plan. In 2016, the city adopted the comprehensive plan. In that plan, it showed place types, and the place types were what were used to then zone the property to specific zoning designations. This area was place type as urban corridor. Urban corridors are described as buildings fronting the street, parking behind or below, and connected street networks, on-street parking, public spaces of various types. And ultimately, they were given the zoning designations of T5C and T5D in this area. Areas currently zoned C were generally shown as suburban centers place types and suburban corridor place types. They have a development form which is a lot more auto-oriented and low-rise fronting parking lots. Therefore, this request is not consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan of 2016. And then in conclusion with that, the proposed use has not been permitted for 14 years and has long since passed the reestablishment deadlines. Changing the zoning designation from T5C to C would easily be considered spot zoning and is not supported by the adopted 2016 comprehensive plan. The applicant has not provided evidence that there's been a change of condition in the area and an unmet public need for the additional convenience store gas station. If this change or designation were to be allowed, the integrity of the zoning district map and the comprehensive plan could be substantially weakened. And then this request was noticed in accordance to the UDC. 13 properties were notified directly by mail, ad in Starkville Daily News on December 17, 2025, and a sign on the property. As of this date, we received no response to the city about the notifications, and at the January 13th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, they voted 5-1 to recommend denial of the request, which is also supported by staff.
All right, any questions of Mr. Howard? Any questions of Mr. Howard?
Just a couple.
Alderman Brooks.
Yeah, form-based codes. Initially, we adopted those in 2012, I think, is that right?
Yes, so it was originally adopted as just a T5, yes.
Yeah, just a T5, and then we changed that to we had T5 and T6.
Sort of added flavors to them based on where they
Right,
were.
and we went and got rid of the 6 and went to the corridor and,
Correct.
University, right. And at that time, then we did away with that use. It was no longer a use by right from 2012 on, is that correct?
Correct. The use is allowed to remain in its current condition.
Legal non-conforming use.
But if it ever ceased, it wouldn't allow to be reestablished.
And I think we probably even changed the time limit on the time it has to cease operating. I mean, maybe one time it's 6 months, maybe it's 3
I
months.
believe so under the previous code, yes.
So, there are 1, 2, maybe 3 other gas stations along that corridor, but they've been there, some of them been there a long time.
Yeah.
I remember some of them for a long time.
They've all definitely been there since 2012.
Yeah, so they've been there prior to that, so they can continue in perpetuity as a legal non-conforming use.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Anyone else? Questions of Mr. Haviland? All right, is the applicant in the house? Mr. Hosford, are you representing the applicant, I presume?
I'm present with them. I think they wish to speak for themselves.
All right.
I may help them.
Okay, all right. If you would, when you come forward, if you'd introduce yourself so the city clerk can take your name, please.
Good evening, honorary mayor, honorary vice mayor, and honorary board of aldermen. My name is Wael Al-Sedi, but most people in Starkville know me as Sam, because I was only supposed to be in Starkville for 2 weeks to help my brother and his wife get settled in closer to her family and organize 76, the new business my father had opened for them. But within the first year, 76 was very unsuccessful, and my brother's marriage was falling apart, so my father asked me to transfer out of the City University of New York, where I was majoring in economics, to Mississippi State, so that I could look after my little brother and help him with 76. When I came back, to my surprise, people still remembered me as Sam, and the name just stuck. A year later, my brother got divorced and left, and I remained dropping out of college and working 14-hour days. And even then, even with gas at 76, it took over 2 years to become profitable. But since then, it has been profitable, and my family has transferred over a significant amount of money from originally in New York State to Mississippi to purchase the property on Highway 12, as well as another property in town. My family's investments have now contributed over $200,000 a year in property sales, income, employment, gas tax, etc. 76 also makes annual donations to Starkville High, MSU fraternities, and numerous others. Whether it's trunk or treat for Halloween or Christmas drive or Christmas parade, we at 76 are there. We've become a staple in Starkville, no matter what part of town you're from. Everybody knows at 76 everyone's treated equally. We've even employed trans and non-binary people because we always believe as long as you work hard and have great customer service, it shouldn't matter how you identify, what color you are, where you're from, or how you love. Starkville is for everyone, and we've always tried to keep a good relationship with the city. When code enforcement asked us to move the 1964 Mustang because it wasn't tagged, that we have up front, because it wasn't tagged, we went downtown and got it tagged. When code enforcement told us that it needs to run, we took it next door to the mechanic and we made it run. Then when they told us it needs to run and drive, we moved it to the back. We then purchased a new 1964 Mustang that's tagged, drives, and runs. I see even the smart bus people are here today. So I'd like to add that Mr. Ronnie White came to us and asked if the city could put a new bus stop on our property. We didn't hesitate to say yes. Then when he asked if we could move it to the other side of the property, we obliged. When they said they wanted to make it permanent, add a concrete slab and an entire bus stop, we still agreed because we understand that whatever is good for Starkville is good for us. After our success at 76, we were approached by a few people to open up other locations in Columbus, the city of Tupelo, and Madison County. We declined because we wanted to stay in Starkville. And that brings us here today and the city's $50 million revitalization project. That will affect hundreds of surrounding properties. With the approval of this amendment to the zoning, Sunoco Gas Company and my sister and I are combined are investing over almost $500,000 onto this corner. That's nearly 1% of the $50 million budget. So it's safe to say that we're doing our part to contribute to the success of the city's project. I understand that the Board of Aldermen usually don't vote against the planning and zoning department, but doing so today will conflict with your constituents' wishes. This is a pie chart that we wanted to pass out that illustrates what wards our customers and illustrates what ward our customers and petition signers live in. Thus, voting against this today is actually directly voting against your constituents. This location is very well known around town. This location has had numerous small business failures over the past few years because sadly, the statistic is over 50% of small businesses fail within the first 2 years. That statistic drops significantly into the single digits for gas stations because gas gives new customers a reason to come in, a reason to try something new, and that leads to the discovery of a hidden gem inside. I don't want to sound redundant by stating this fact, but this is not a new location. This location has existed in the city of Starkville for decades, and even in the vitalization project plans, it's stated that it is a gas station on the plans. Further proof that it's a gas station, the underground storage tanks are currently there, and it would cost over $300,000 to install in 2026. That being said, I understand the legal issue of spotlight zoning, even though this would be considered to serve the public purpose, which would be exempt from the spotlighting zoning issue. I understand, what we understood from the Planning and Zoning Committee last week was that aldermen have conditional powers that could be put in place to resolve this issue. We just want to open up a business on that corner. It could remain the same zone, it could change. It could be whatever zone that would appease the board, set in conditions for an expiration date, set in anything that would make you guys feel comfortable moving forward. Delaying this has cost us thousands of dollars, thousands that could have been used to improve 76. This is just one of the projects that we had to table due to the zoning issue. Want to add something?
Anything further?
No, sorry for reading, just
That's okay.
it's easier.
All right. Anything further, Mr.
Would you like that?
Foster? You
Well, my
plan on-
sister would like to add something.
Hello, good evening. I actually wrote it on my phone. I didn't know phones are not allowed.
I need your name, please,
Oh,
ma'am.
yes, my name is Sarah Al-Saidi.
Okay.
If I could only find it. See, I'm so excited to meet you. My brother talks really a lot about you. Good evening. My name is Sarah Al-Saidi. I would like to begin by saying that when I moved here, I wasn't aware of the zoning issue. At the time, I believed this move would provide an opportunity that I had never been offered before. My husband and I invested our entire life savings into this business, everything we had, because we truly believed in this dream. Coming from New York City, this was an opportunity meant even more to me as a woman and the first in my family to build something of my own. I was determined to succeed in this field and the culture that is often male-dominated. This was not a chance I was able to pursue in New York, so the stakes were more higher for me. I first visited this town in 2024 for summer vacation at my brother's, and I immediately fell in love with this town. I loved it so much I convinced my husband to come down here and see for himself. When my brother told me about this opportunity, I didn't hesitate. Despite many people telling me I was making a mistake leaving New York City for Mississippi, I believed that this community, I believed in this community. I often told them if they only spent 1 week in Starkville, they would understand exactly why I chose to come. I moved my entire family here. My children were very upset leaving their schools and their loved teachers, but we believed that the opportunity would allow us to build a better future. I believe many of you relate to the excitement and pride of pursuing your first meaningful accomplishment. And I hope you understand where I'm coming from. This town has so much potential. It is welcoming, caring, and built on a strong sense of community. I truly want to be a part of that. However, I have invested all my savings and took out on debt to be here, simply for a chance to build something I can call my own. A chance I have never had before. I grew up in a culture where women were often told, you belong in the kitchen, not a business owner. I believed that I could prove that belief wrong. I believed that I could show that a woman can successfully run a business and also be a wife and a mother. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You want to say something?
I'll be quick.
Okay, please. Thank you.
Sorry, public speaking is not my strong suit. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen, my name is Dakota Cadena. Most people know me by Doc. But downtown Starkville serves as the heart of the community, bringing together residents, students, workers, and visitors to eat, shop, work, and attend local events. As downtown continues to grow, it is important that development also focuses on meeting the everyday needs of people who spend their time there. Currently, many individuals downtown do not have convenient access to hot food, over-the-counter medications, beverages, and other essential items. A centrally located convenience store would help fill this gap while also strengthening the downtown economy. Easy access to quick meals, drinks, and necessities would encourage people to stay downtown longer, which would lead to increased visits to nearby shops and entertainment venues. Affordable hot food is especially important in a food desert. Providing hot meals downtown would be a practical and necessary service, not a luxury. The inclusion of diesel fuel is also critical as there are very few locations in the area that offer it. A downtown diesel option would support delivery drivers, construction crews, farmers, service vehicles, and other workers that keep local economy running while reducing congestion and saving time. Overall, this project represents more than just a convenience store. It would function as a valuable community resource. It would enhance quality of life, support economic activity, create jobs and tax revenue, and contribute positively to the functionality and inclusivity of downtown Starkville. One thing I did want to add, all those signatures you guys see in front of you, those aren't something we went to high traffic areas to get. We didn't push anything in people's faces. This is something we genuinely wanted to see how many people wanted a second location from us. This is something we placed on our registers. We didn't push it in people's faces. People took time to read what we wrote down on there and wanted to put their signatures and their address down to support us. I feel like the amount of work, emotion, and stress we put into this place, there's not a day you guys can come by 76 you won't see me or him there. This is 7 days a week. We're very hands-on. He really said it all. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Hosford, last but not least.
How y'all doing today? Well, I think they covered everything, guys. Basically, what we have is a gas station that's existing. They're wanting to reopen that gas station. Contrary to what the planner said, that gas station hasn't changed. It's no different than a house. If a house is vacant for 10 years, it's still a house. That's a gas station. Everybody knows it's a gas station. It's the gas station by the sheriff's department. It's a gas station by the pawn shop. It's a gas station by the buildings that need to be approved across the street. What we got here is gentlemen and a young lady that are willing to spend their money to improve the area this city has spent millions of dollars to improve. They're asking you for your help. I don't know a perfect way to do it. Based on what I saw in the zoning, they applied for what would fit their use. If there's a better way to do it, they're all for it. They're trying to help this community. And there's a need for it, whether it be Mr. Ward 7, Ward 6, both in this area. There's people from your communities that will come to this area to eat. I live downtown. I'll walk over the hill to eat there. Their food's very good at 76. It's not by my house, but I'll walk there, down the hill, get a hot dog, get a sandwich, whatever they're selling. Yes, they got to sell gas. Why do they have to sell gas? Well, they have to have a draw. The reason the businesses that are failing there fail is because they don't have a draw. And that draw brings people into the state or into the area to buy gas, and then when they're there, they're buying the food. That's how their business plan works. That's why it's necessary to have the gas station. It's not that they don't want to just open a food stop. But if they open a food stop, they'll be like the last 3 restaurants that were there. They'll have a grand opening and a grand closing. And that's not what the city wants. The city wants somebody that's going to be there for 20 years. They've been at 76 for how long? 6 years. 6 years of business, 6 years of improvement. It's probably the nicest gas station on Highway 12 right now. That's what you're asking. They're asking to bring to that side of town that we have spent millions of dollars to improve, and everyone here voted to improve that area. You got people that are willing to do that. That's what we're asking for today, is permission to do that. However you choose to do it, we're for it, as long as they can open their business. I don't have all the answers. We're willing to work with you in any way we can to open this gas station back up so they can operate. Tell us what we need to do. Tell us how you want it done. As long as they can legally operate in this city, that's what they're asking. And it's a gas station. I don't care what the city planner wants to call it. Drive past it today, 99.9% of Starkville will say that's a gas station. There is no change to it. It hasn't gone away. It's there, and it'll be there until the city decides to let somebody open it. You have somebody willing to spend the money, that's what we're asking y'all to approve today.
Thank you. Any questions from the board of the applicant or Mr. Hosford, or through Mr. Hosford? Any questions? All right, if not, y'all step back and I will open it as a public hearing. All right, I'll open it as a public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in favor or against this particular item, now would be your opportunity.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ben Carver, and I wear many hats, but I'm coming tonight solely as a citizen and a previous alderman of this ward. And I'll say this before we get into this, Main Street's looking good, and y'all got signs up and telling people how to get here and there in the construction, so I applaud you for that. As you know, this used to be a junkyard where the Patriot Park sit. We were able to turn that into a green space in the city, and then we were looking for a stabilizing property right there. They came in and have been that anchor spot for that area for quite some time. My kids, as most of y'all know, they kind of grew up riding to that store. They became family in the town. It's good to see young people become very interested in business and become successful. These gentlemen, Sam and Doc, have done that. I come with no compensation for coming here, just as a citizen to say I have become a fan of them as individuals and business owners. I think with the largest ever road rework, Highway 182 in the history of Starkville, that condition B has been met. In my opinion, I could vote for that. Also, know that planning and zoning has come before many times. It's not a unanimous decision, but I've seen planning and zoning come with plans for denial and the board vote in favor. I've seen them be in favor of things and the board and vote against it. Y'all know that it's ultimately y'all's decision tonight, but I just want to come and support these guys. It became a very walkable, pedestrian-friendly gas station early on. It became a smart bus system pickup. I envision they would allow that to happen right there too. It serves as a vital hub from a pedestrian-friendly standpoint, from the fact that people from the jail, employees from the county, employees from Main Street could walk down. They sell premium boar's head products, came out of food world. Other than to say that's not an average thing to serve to constituents. But I'm just here tonight to offer my support for these young men. I've seen what they do for business. Regardless, they're in the Christmas parade. They're not going anywhere. They're community leaders already. They continually get voted and will be voted, Business of the Year in the convenience store franchise. So thank you. How are you?
Thank you, Supervisor Carver. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing, and the board will move into deliberations regarding this particular matter. Do I have anyone who wishes to speak on this? I need a motion in one way or another. Alderman Brooks.
Can I ask Mr. Howland a couple questions? We've talked about this 182 corridor at length before. For those that don't know, I was on planning and zoning for like 10 years, and we've dealt with this stuff, and I'm a big fan of the form-based district overall, just a big fan. I mean, my ward, it has been a boon to the Cotton District and Russell Street, and it's allowed us to do all the things that we've been able to do up there. I never was necessarily in favor of it on this 182 corridor because it was basically a state highway there, and the form-based codes, transit districts, require minimal frontage, setbacks. I'm saying frontage, but setbacks, and you pull a building like that up to the you don't want to pull a building up to a highway. Is what I'm trying to say. I always thought that there should be some overlay district along there to treat that area separately. And I'm of the mindset that some of these buildings, and there are a number of them along through there that could have been renovated during this period we've had this form-based codes in effect, but to do so, if my planning and zoning memories is correct, you couldn't really spend over 50% of the cost of the building, excluding the land, or else then you had to come into compliance with the code. And the code would mean pick the building up, move it within 15 foot of the street. So I really think that might have hindered some of that. Now, I said all that to say that I'm looking at the map, and I don't see any red commercial along there. And that's the other thing that I remember from my planning and zoning days, where spot zoning is a bad, it's a big no-no. You just can't do that. From listening to these people. You know, I would almost be in favor to go along with this. I think it'd be a great addition, but I also know that we kind of got to follow the law here, and I'm afraid that if we go down that path and we spot zone this one spot, then, you know, we are going against the law, and you know, what I said earlier about the corridor, we are spending some, whatever, $40 million on that, and it's going to, in my mind, change that, and I think that, you know, we won't have necessarily a highway there, we'll have more of a street, and I know there've been some properties change hands, and we may be getting ready to see some stuff down there, you know, and with the new 182 corridor, you know, I'm hoping that the form-based codes fits it better. I never was a big fan of it before because I just didn't think that it fit, but I'm willing to hold off now and see what happens now that we're finishing 182. Again, I applaud what they've done. 76, I'm over there. I see it. I see people in and out of there. I know it's been a great addition to that area, and I'd love to see them do something over here. I'm just concerned, you know, that if you go down that road and you spot zone this property, that you're opening yourself up, because I think those are overturned fairly regularly, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, that's all, Mayor.
Thank you. I see Alderman Sistrunk hand.
Yes, I'd like to echo some of what Alderman Brooks said. I'm a big supporter of the form-based codes as well, and I think that that had been a state highway, and as one of our engineers said, it is becoming a city street going forward, and that's the thing that we have to keep in mind. That and the fact that we have a developmental plan that is in place, and when you do spot zoning, you weaken that entire plan, and this sets a precedent for any other property over there. So I think that we all are in agreement with the good work that these people have done, and we hope that you find the right place for a business that as you want to expand. But it's like planting a plant in your yard. The wrong plant in the wrong place just takes on a life of its own and ruins what you're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to make a motion that we deny the request to rezone based on the urban corridor zoning and the fact that this would be spot zoning and not appropriate.
Thank you. All right, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Vaughn. All right, further discussion? Alderman Vaughn.
I take this on a strong and great consideration. If we approve this, this will be a slap in the face to Larry Love Barber Shop up there, because it's the same thing that he come to the board and asked for just about. He just didn't ask for a change. He came to the same board. And if we close this restaurant down just about when we're doing construction. So this would be a slap in Larry Love's face from his board if we do approve this.
All right, thank you, Alderman Vaughn. And I do want to say, I appreciate that y'all are being good community stewards, truly. And I appreciate your sentiment toward the city and your pleasure at being here, and we want you to be here. We want you to continue to be a part of the community. But I concur with our plan along 182. I think it is a city street. It's no longer the highway that it once was, and I do think that remaining consistent with the things that we have as our plan for the UDC and our plan for our comprehensive view of what Starkville should be in each area, that this would not be fitting to make that change. So just from my perspective. So any further discussion? Any further discussion?
Well, I would like to say this is not in any way, if we could make this work for y'all, we would, but I can't find a way forward in that particular location.
All right, so I do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it is unanimous, motion carries. Thank you, and we will reflect that Alderman Moore was recused from that. Okay, would you mind, I'll call Mrs. Trump together? Thank you. All right, Mr. Havlin, next item.
This is SC 25-09. This is a request by the Orchid Church to allow for a place of worship at 208 Industrial Park Road within a I industrial zoning district. This is the former location of Flex Steel's, it's their fabric, furniture, retail site. The site plan shown here and also on attachment 3, it shows the proposed layout of the church with the parking around it. This is just as part of a pre-app, so this is nowhere near a finalized plan, but it kind of gives an idea of some of the improvements that they're trying to make to it. Since this proposal does require major modifications to the existing building and site, it is reviewed as a special exception instead of a use exception. And the thing that's kind of different with places of worship is they're basically allowed in all zoning districts with the special exception approval. So it's a whole totally different test than the previous case we just mentioned, or just had. This request was noticed in accordance with UDC. 4 property owners of record were notified directly by mail, and the legal ad was published in the Starkville Daily News on December 17, along with a sign on the property. As of this date, we received no response to the notification. And with all special exceptions, there are the 8 criteria for review and approval. At the January 13th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission, the commission voted unanimously to recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Hamlin? Any questions? I do. Sure.
Just one.
Alderman Brooks.
The parking lot you got laid out, that'll be some hard material. I mean,
In this zoning district, doesn't have to be, but I believe at the very minimum, ADA does, and I believe there's a curb, but I don't remember that right off the top, because I do imagine this parking will probably expand in the future, and the building will expand some in the future too.
okay.
But the main thing we're focusing on this is just how the parking was laid out, where the access was being allowed on the property, and how that fits with the surrounding driveways and intersections. So.
Move approval.
Oh, let me open it as a public hearing.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. If you would state your name, and you're welcome to speak to the board.
Good evening, my name is Ben Beavers. I'm the site director with the Orchard Church. If you're not familiar with the Orchard Church, we were established in 1998, so we just celebrated our 27th year in ministry in Tupelo. We've been a part of the Starkville community at the Orchard Starkville since 2018. This whole time we've been renting a place as our congregation has grown and expanded. With the help of our realtor and her diligent work, Jane Anna Wade, we've identified this property, checked all the boxes for us for future growth and expansion in the heart of Starkville. We're for Starkville. We look forward to continuing to give back to the community, and so this property, we're excited about it and just grateful for the opportunity to come before you to ask for this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions to the applicant? All right, seeing none, if you'll step aside and I'll open it as a public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak to this particular matter, now is the opportunity, either for or against. Either for or against. Seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing, and I have a motion, Alderman Vaughn. The motion's still good?
That's good.
I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Poco. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Haviland, special exception for a manufactured home.
This is a request by Carolyn Jordan to allow for the use of dwelling manufactured home located at, on the south side of Butler Road. The property doesn't currently have an address. So it's south side of Butler Road, directly west of 710 Butler Road in an RN zoning district. Applicants kind of had a time on this due to a couple of circumstances beyond her control. Initially, the applicant had the manufactured home placed on what they believed to be their family's property, which is directly next door to the house. It's on the right of the square. After realizing a mistake, the applicant obtained permission from the owner, which wasn't easy to find or get, but they went through and did all that. And then they came through and applied for the special exception. And then we were trying to wrap this up before Christmas, and we didn't have a meeting for P&Z in December due to some errors in members showing up. So they got pushed back again to this month. So they've kind of gone through it. The use chart in section 13.3 requires a use or special exception for a dwelling manufactured home in an RN zoning district. Section 3.4 also requires that the special exception meet the additional standards, which what they're currently doing does meet the additional standards. This request was notified in accordance with the UDC. One property owner of record was notified directly by mail, and that was the applicant's family member to the east. And a legal ad was published again on December 17, 2025, with a sign on the property. As of this date, we received no response from the notifications, and up here are the 8 criteria for special exception use and approval, and January 13th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimously approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Hamlin? All right, seeing none, is the applicant here? Would you like to say something to the board?
Only thing I just want to say, I'm just trying to move, but my mother's trying to move my kids.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have too much to say.
Okay, are you Ms. Jordan?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right, we'll just note that, and we'll, if you don't have anything other than asking us to move forward with it, I understand. All right, thank you so much. All right, any comments from the board? Do I have a motion?
Move approval, Mayor.
I have a motion. I did close it as a public hearing, I believe. Did I? Okay, open, close. Sorry, if anyone wishes to speak to this matter, I apologize, I get it in the middle. Vice Mayor Perkins, I have a motion from you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Moreland. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Carry on. All right, and last but not least, Mr. Havlin.
This is SE 26-01. This is a request by TB Starkville LLC to deviate from the accessibility standards of section 15.3.3.e. By accessibility standards, we're talking about like the vehicular accessibility, not ADA accessibility. The proposed development is located directly east of the Walk-On's restaurant on Highway 12. The proposed development has a hotel as part of Phase 1 and a multi-unit residential as part of the future phases. They currently are proposing a road that comes through the site that connects back to Patch Station Road. There'll have to be a bridge here to go over the creek, and then it comes through and then dead ends at the southern property line. The orange box, the hotel, that's Walk-On's. This is a future multi-house development that hasn't come through for any official approvals recently. So with the development of this size, it's over 20 acres, or has density in the future with multifamily residential. 2 connection points are required. This property has a unique situation in that it doesn't touch any roads, so they're having to purchase or get an easement through here on this property owner to build the bridge to access. They have no way of accessing 12 to the front, and then they're surrounded by creeks on the other side. So the other way to access through is eventually to connect back to Market Street, which runs next to Neighborhood Market, and that portion of the road would be completed by the future development of that site. So this request was noticed in accordance with UDC. 10 property owner of record were notified directly by mail. A legal ad was published in Starkville Daily News on December 17th and a sign posted on the property. As of this date, no response to the notification. Just like with the other exceptions, there are 8 criteria for review and approval. On January 13th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimously approval of the request.
All right, any questions to Mr. Hamlin?
One.
Alderman Brooks. It's your night, my man.
Yeah. I hadn't been out there, Mr. Havlin, but Market Street doesn't turn and go north at this point, does it?
No, it stops right there on the, I wish I had captured it in this image. It stops right at that detention pond that's in the back of it. It lines up that property line.
Yeah, okay.
So the idea was, because we went through an exercise with that property owner to actually build the road on there, and then that all changed to the last minute, but that was going to be an intersection built just to the east of that property line, and it was going to run all the way on the eastern line and connect right into where it's shown there.
Connect into that. That's what I understood initially. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Certainly. Well, and let me also say that, one of the first things I did as this project came to us, I realized that ideally you would have that second exit, but I went to the fire marshal and fire department to make sure that this was something that they were comfortable with, and they were. So I believe that the density of this would normally probably give them a little pause, but once he considered the situation, Mark McCurdy said that he was comfortable with it could be managed with our fire apparatus. So that was one element that I thought was important to make sure of as we were moving forward with this. All right, any other questions of Mr. Havlin? All right, the applicant here?
Yes. I don't really have anything.
Nothing to add? Okay, all right, well, that's fine, you don't have to come up, I just want to make sure you were here. All right, thank you. All right, I'll open it as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak either for or against this item, now would be the opportunity. Twice in one day, Mr. Long, nice to see you again.
Start the morning with you, and we'll finish after dinner with you. Terry Long is my name. I'm obviously here for walk-ons, but an opportunity, I'm obviously for this, but the opportunity for another hotel in this community that this town desperately needs more of. The ability to, when we have these big events on game days that Mississippi State brings, that the Arts Festival brings, any of these things that we bring into our community, and we're losing tax dollars every single time because they're going outside of our town because we don't have enough rooms for them. This is an opportunity that would be well needed, and it's, again, another opportunity for growth and development on one of the main entrances into our community. So I think it's something that I would really appreciate and encourage the board to vote in favor of.
We can probably get a sidewalk from there to... Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this matter? Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board, Mayor. I'm Walter O'Queeson. I have some concerns about this. When I attended the planning and zoning meeting last week, I don't think there was really a clear description of the exact exception that the applicant is asking for. And that's my only concern right now. I have some others. I was wondering why that frontage road, that easement that's clearly intended as a frontage road is not being used to access this property. It just seems to me that that's less than optimum for this development.
All right, thank you, Mr. O'Queeson. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak to this matter? Seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Motion to move approval.
I have a motion of approval for Alderman Pokup. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Skinner. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Next item up is the mayor's business. And let me be clear about this particular item. This is just calling for the first of two public hearings. As everyone knows, we use two public hearings anytime we amend an ordinance. We are not required to do so, but I think it's good practice. It gives everyone notice that we are about to take an action that impacts our, thank you so much, that impacts our codes and our laws. And so in this case, this is the call for the first of two public hearings. The next one would be at the first meeting in February. The second one with potential action would be at the second meeting in February. So this is an opportunity for us to allow an hour expansion to our existing alcohol sales on Sundays. Our restaurateurs, before I brought this forward, I inquired of our restaurateurs if this is something that would be something they would support and that they were interested in, and the answer was yes, that a lot of them open at 10, but they don't have an opportunity to serve the full complement of what they have available. And so this does allow for serving of Sunday brunch with the alcohol to be an option for whatever, mimosas or whatever it is people are drinking at Sunday brunch. So I did not do this without at least running this by our local restaurateurs who would be impacted, and they were favorable. So I say that to ask the board if you'd be willing to entertain this. and put this in front of the public for 2 public hearings. So, Alderman Sistrunk.
I'm going to move approval of this, and I think that what this allows the restaurants to do is to begin serving all their menu items at once. I think it's very confusing to give somebody a menu and say, sorry, you can't have that, so just yet, wait until 11. And so it's really just cleaning that up, and so I will move approval to have those 2 public hearings.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Mayor, I've talked to restaurateurs also, and they do seem to be in favor of this, and I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Alderman Brooks. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
All right, thank you. It's by a vote of 5-2, the motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have a claims docket. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
I have a motion from Alderman Sistrunk. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Skinner, I believe it was. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. And that takes us, I believe, to the end. Yes, it does. We have need for a closed determination session to see if we need an executive session. Could I get a motion for that?
Move approval to go into closed session?
All right, I have a motion from Alderman Pokup to go into closed section. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Vaughn? Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we will be going into closed session to determine the need for executive session. If everyone would please clear the room. Thank you so much.